Today we discuss frequency selective fading. So from last classes we understood that the received baseband waveform can be written as like this: alpha into e power j phi I x of t minus tau I. So these are the I equal to 1 to very large number. So these are the attenuation coefficients and they are the phase of each path, and this is the propagation delay of the ith path. I runs from 1 to very large number n. So this we understood from the last classes. So for low bitrate communication or for narrow band communication, so we can write this as this we discussed, something like this: alpha into e power j phi I x of t minus some tau hat. It means it will be independent of the summation I, and this will be something like sum of very large number of complex numbers are getting multiplied with what? This x of t minus tau hat. So this we have written like this: h into x of t minus tau hat. And now assuming time correction, so we have written y of t, the received baseband waveform y of t is equal to some h into x of t, and this is for what? For low bit rate communication. For low bit rate communication. And so the impulse response you can write like this as h of t is equal to, from here it is h into del of t, and whose Fourier transform is, means whose transfer function is, or magnitude frequency response is flat over all frequencies. So that we call it as frequency flat fading. Frequency flat fading. So this we call it as frequency flat fading, because so the received waveform y of f is equal to the spectrum of the received signal is h of f into x of f, and magnitude of y of f is equal to, it is a constant times the value may be a random variable, but the value will be constant over all the frequencies. So that's why the fading we call it as frequency flat fading. So this we can observe in the what? Low bit rate communication. But when you go for wideband communication, where the symbol duration is, so for wideband communication, for a wideband communication, the symbol duration Ts is may be comparable with what? The difference between the propagation delays, or maybe less than, or it can also be less than what? The difference between propagation delays. Then the term x of t minus tau I present in that equation, in this equation, if I plot this x of t minus tau I for various values of I, then it will be like this. So maybe for I equal to 1, it will be something like tau 1 to tau 1 plus ts. And for I is equal to 2, because the difference between propagation delays are comparable with this duration ts, the next replica will be something like this. It will be tau 2 plus ts. Now all these superimposed replicas cannot be taken as, now this cannot be taken as x of t minus tau hat. So now that equation of received baseband waveform cannot be simplified further, which is y of t is equal to I equal to 1 to n into e power j phi I x of, so this cannot be simplified, and like the previous case, so for frequency selective fading, so in this for wideband communication we have to what, leave the received baseband waveform equation like this, but still we can take one thing, that these tau i's, which are propagation delays, these tau i's can be discrete or continuous values. So these tau i's can be discrete or actually continuous values, but we assume that out of all the propagation delays, some of them are close to some propagation delay tau naught, and some of them are close to a propagation delay of tau 1, something like that. So if I assume like that, then y of t I can write like this way, that say Iz, so some of them is say I equal to 1 to some n naught number, alpha I e power j phi I into x of t minus, so all these propagation paths between 1 to n naught having the propagation delay of say tau naught, and similarly I can write the other delays from say I is equal to n naught plus 1 to say n1. All these propagation paths are having delay say are equal to say tau 1, like that. I go up to the last value, so that is what the last value is n. I is equal to say something like nl minus 1 from here to say this one x of t minus tau l minus 1. So we have characterized now all the propagation delays are, some of them are close to tau naught, some of them are close to tau 1, something like this. Now if I do like this, so I'm just simplifying this way, that all of the delays cannot be taken as something like tau hat, but at least some of them can be taken as what, tau naught, some of them will be taken as tau 1, like that. Now if we observe the value of n naught, the value of n1 here, and the value of present in the last path also, the count will be also, they are sum of very large number, and sum of very large number also can be treated as a large number. So here also some unknown random numbers are added, a large number of random numbers are getting added, and we can take them as by imposing central limit theorem, you can take this as a zero mean complex Gaussian random variable or a non-zero mean complex Gaussian random variable. But for so it will be a complex Gaussian random variable by imposing central limit theorem, and this will be a single this will be a single complex number, and say that value say h naught. And similarly, the sum of this very large number of complex numbers can be what, written as another complex random number, so this h1, something like this. Now with this simplification, I can write now y of t as, for wideband communication I can write for y of t as, so y of t is equal to h naught into x of t minus t naught, tau naught, plus h1 into x of t minus tau 1, and it goes up to say hl minus 1 into x of t minus tau l minus 1. So I can write this as in a summation form, say I is equal to say 0 to l minus 1 hi into x of t minus tau I. So if you see here, this is actually a complex number times x of t minus tau naught, another complex number times x of t minus tau 1. So now y of t is actually, you can write that for wideband communication, for a wideband communication, so this is actually one flat fading channel. In flat fading channel, the received signal is complex number of times x of t minus some tau hat. And this is another flat fading channel where the coefficient is changed and delay is changed. And like that, so y of t is, for a wideband channel, y of t is actually sum of, say, some L number of sum of L number of flat fading channel outputs. So that is actually y of t for a wideband communication. And if you see here, if you can write this as y of t is equal to, so you can write like this. So I can write this as I is equal to 0 to L minus 1 hi del of t minus tau I. So convolution with x of t, and now the impulse response h of t is equal to, so h of t is not now having one impulse like in like for narrowband communication. Now h of t will be like sum of a multiple number of impulses, and each impulse has a coefficient that is called hi. We call it as channel tap coefficient. So how many number of channel taps we have is L number of channel taps. Now if we plot the frequency response of such impulse response, so which is if there is one if there is one tap or one impulse is present in the channel impulse response, we had what? A flat response. And if you see, if there is a two taps present in the impulse response, we will have what? Something like a slowly varying impulse response, something like this, something magnitude response of the channel. And when there are a number of taps are there, and if you plot the frequency response of the channel, so magnitude frequency response of the channel, if you plot, it will have a rapid fluctuations in the frequency domain, something like this. And we call that as, so a rapid random fluctuations for the frequencies, and we call that as, it is a frequency selective channel. So for wideband communication, our wireless channel will be frequency selective, because different frequencies have different channel gains. So here the channel gain is low and here the channel gain is higher, something like that. So the behavior of the frequency response is frequency selective, so the channel will become what? Frequency channel, and fading will be now frequency selective fading, because in impulse response we have multiple number of impulses and the response will become selective, so the fading will be frequency selective fading. Means the frequency response is not flat, so it is what? The frequency response is actually selective. And if you observe, as the count of the number of impulses increasing in the impulse response, then the fluctuations in the frequency response will be more rapid. So this is what actually the frequency selective fading. And we go to now, we just discuss on this now. So y of t is, we have written as something like y of t is equal to some impulse response h of t convolution with transmitted baseband waveform. Now if you see in h of t we have, so h of t we have so I is equal to 0 to L minus 1 hi x of t minus tau I, or del is fine. So del of t minus tau I. So we know, so the total spread or delay spread of the channel is, means the span of time the channel impulse response is occupying is what we call it as total delay spread of the channel, is nothing but the last delay tau L minus 1 minus the first path delay, or first path means the first coefficient delay, that is what I equal to 0 means tau naught will be, so this one. This is what total delay spread of the channel, which is the total span of the time span of the impulse response. So this is this one, and now we introduce a topic called as, say, excess delay. So excess delay is what? For example, what is the excess delay of the zeroth path? Say we have how many paths, and the infinite paths are now dissolved into L number of paths. Say one is zeroth path, the first path up to L minus 1 paths. So what is the excess delay of the zeroth path is, so excess delay is this actual propagation delay and minus the first path propagation delay. Here the first path is zeroth path only in this, so it will be, so first path excess delay will be 0, and what will be the excess delay of the first path is, so the propagation delay of the first path is here tau 1, so I is equal to 1 means here tau 1 will come, so tau 1, and with relative to the first path is what, zeroth path is what, tau naught, so tau 1 minus tau naught is actually the excess delay of the path for which I equal to 1. And what is the excess delay of the path for which I equal to 2 is, that is tau 2 minus tau naught, and like that this is for I is equal to 2. And what is the excess delay of the last path, which is for which I equal to L minus 1 minus tau naught, is what actually I is equal to L minus 1. So this is actually the last path excess delay, and this will be the maximum amongst all these paths. So this we call it as maximum excess delay. This we call it as maximum excess delay, that is what, tau max. So the total delay spread is also can be written as actually equal to actually tau max. So there is a path delay of the last path minus propagation delay of the last path minus the first path, which is for which I equal to 0, the propagation delay. So tau L minus tau L minus 1 minus tau naught is excess. This is the maximum excess delay. Or this is the total time span of the impulse response, that is what, tau max. Now if you see y of t is equal to h of t convolution with x of t, and the duration, so for one symbol x of t duration is ts, and the h of t duration is actually is what, here the total duration of the h of t is tau max, that is the total span of the h of t. Then the duration of the y of t will become ts plus tau max. So what we are trying to say here is, so we transmit a pulse of duration ts, and what we are receiving is, So this is actually x of t, and what we receive is y of t is something like the duration of the y of t will be more than the ts, the value will be ts plus tau max, because after convolution the total delay will be added and ts will be equal to ts plus total duration will be added, the total duration of the y of t will be equal to ts plus tau max. Now we transmit a pulse of duration ts, now it is stretched over the duration of ts plus tau max, and this effect is called as pulse broadening. So we call it as pulse broadening, or the phenomena is called as time dispersion. So due to time dispersion for this one, for frequency healthy channel, what we observe is that the transmitted pulse, the received baseband pulse will be more than the duration of the TS, and that the amount of difference is what? Nothing but there is the maximum excess delay, TS plus tau max. So if I transmit some pulse of duration TS and now it is received something like the duration is more than the transmitted, then we call this effect is called as pulse broadening or time dispersion. So with this, what is the cost we pay for this one is that is called as due to this time dispersion we have to experience this interference called as intersymbol. So it causes, the pulse broadening causes what? Intersymbol interference. So we just now describe this. So that as tau max increases, means the total the excess delay is increasing. So then the time span of the impulse response will be increasing, and so as the tau max increases, so the interference will also be, ISI will be increasing. If tau max is 0 means if tau max is 0 means there is only one path, not that multi paths are present in the impulse response. If there is one path, then the tau max will become what? 0. There will not be any excess delay component present in the impulse response. Then thereby ISI will become what? 0. So now just describe what is ISI here is. So simply actually we transmit at a symbol rate Rs. We transmit at a symbol rate Rs, which is equal to 1 by Ts, where Ts is the symbol duration. So we keep on transmitting different symbols, say x1, x2 and x3, something like this, and whose duration is something like 0, it is Ts, it is 2Ts, 3Ts, like that we are transmitting. And what we are now receiving is, that is it will be up to Ts and it will be stretched and it will be occupied and it will be extended over the time of the next symbol x2, and similarly x2 will be occupying some of the portion of the x3 symbol, and this is what actually tau max. Now if the previous symbols are creating interference in detecting the current symbol, so if previous symbols, so here the x1 is creating interference because it is extended into the duration of x2, in time slot of x2, it is extended into the time slot of x2. So the x1 is creating interference in detecting what? X1 is creating interference in detecting x2. So that interference is, we call it as what? Intersymbol interference. So if previous symbols are interfering in the detection of current symbol. So we call this interference as inter-symbol interference. Inter-symbol interference, in short ISI. So how do you mitigate or how do you avoid this inter-symbol interferences? So what you can do with the complex receivers, so y of t is equal to, it is x of t convolution with h of t, and you apply this an inverse system to this impulse response, so which will deconvolve this operation and it will get back to you x of t. So in this way you can actually avoid ISI, but that requires this inverse system, and that inverse system will be depending on the channel impulse response. So we should know, so there must be a channel estimation as well as a complex system is required. A complex system is required in receiver to avoid ISI. So receiver complexity will be increased if you want to mitigate ISI this way, or you can do one more other way where you give some God interval time, and it means what, you transmit a symbol x1 and you do not transmit any symbol over the period of God interval. So this is of Ts, and again you transmit the other symbol after giving some gap of God interval time, and you transmit what, the next symbol x2. Again you give God interval, and again you transmit the another symbol x3 like this. So God interval means where, so during God interval the transmission will be absent. So nothing will transmit in the God interval, and we keep the channel as idle. So during the God interval, so due to this frequency selective behavior of the channel, and the received signal will extend over the duration of tau max, but it will not, so that extension will be only present in the God interval, and it will not be interfering with the x2. And similarly x2 will be extended in the God interval only, and it will not create interference to the coming symbol. If you do it like this, so it will not require much complex systems, but it will reduce the overall symbol rate. So earlier symbol rate was 1 by Ts. Now this, with God interval, the symbol rate will be, the effective symbol rate will be 1 by Ts plus God interval. Is God interval. So God interval can be taken as, actually you can take it as the value of tau max, or you can also take it as 4 times the RMS delay spread. We will discuss it later. So it is what, RMS delay spread. So that is what, God interval. So with the using God interval to avoid ISI, it will reduce the overall symbol rate, and it will reduce the bit rate of the communication. So we will discuss on this in next class further.